All right, folks, we're back. Thanks for watching that break. It is going to be, of course, one of the last few ones as we're getting into the last best of 3 of the day. This will determine who joins Snoot in the playoffs and who will be eliminated from the tournament. As only 2 can advance, sadly. But big thank you as well to all the players who came out to play today. Even Keen, who got eliminated first, I think still showed us some pretty good games, my opinion, at least. But yeah, group final starting up right now as we get into Sequencer for the first map in this best of 3.
Yep. Nerchio has somehow gotten Defender's Landing first in the last 2 series. That gets nipped in the bud. And here we are on Sequencer. In the top right, as the blue Zerg, it is Nerchio.
And the bottom left, we have the red Terran player Optimus playing for Dead Pixels. Of course, there's some people with bias about these players in chat. Of course, there's the racial bias, like you're cheering for Terran, you're cheering for Zerg, some people cheering for Nerchio, some people cheering against Nerchio. The one little thing I want to add in here before we get too far into the game is I'm surprised I got praised for this of all things, but people really enjoyed the interview we did at DreamHack Austin. Of course, for those who don't know, Zymegrab and I were interviewing a lot of players at DreamHack Austin, but the one Nerchio caught the eyes of a couple people, and even recently someone tweeted about it. So a lot of you may have this misconceived notion of what Nerchio is in your head, and I think from years of casting him, even I did for a while until I met him at BlizzCon for the first time last year, and then seeing him at a couple events since then. Like, you guys can say what you'd like about trying to project whether he's a salty, angry nerd gamer. I think Nerchio is actually a really nice guy who has changed a lot over the last few years, honestly. He's still very much a vocal and angry person at times, for sure. But I think it's very unfair to say he is like that all the time.
Yeah, he's very different. For the better. But certainly makes a lot of Zergs angry. A lot of Zergs angry. And while it didn't work well enough versus Snoots, it worked against Keen, I guess, in the proxy form in TVT, and might work against Nerchio.
Well, there's 2 key differences happening here. First, he is actually putting this as part of his wall, which, as we saw, was a huge problem for him when he played versus Snoot. Left a big opening, allowed Lings to get in. He never got the natural up in a timely fashion. So, at the very least, this version of it, like, it's not only without reactors, and it's not as dedicated as 4 Reapers at a time, it's a lot safer for him to try and play off of should it go all bad.
Yeah, it's not just not double reactor, it's also not triple barracks. So really not committed. Maybe looking for more of an overreaction from Nerchio. It's kind of funny because that's actually what happened on Defender's Landing versus Snoots. That's happening against Terran too, it'd be funny. Lings tried to skirt on by, but were caught by Reapers, and even if they didn't, there's a wall. So Nerchio's going to respond with a Roachborn.
We're just following the Reaper across the map, mostly because I'm rubbing my eye, but this is something where this is some critical timing coming up for both Optimus and Nerchio. Obviously, for Nerchio, if he takes too much damage, then it's all game over, man. Feels bad. But for Optimus, like, he's not going to realize this with Roaches right away. Most Zerg players out there are responding to this with a lot of Lings and speed Lings and hoping that eventual surround will happen. But Nerchio going straight to Roaches does 2 very interesting things. First, it poses a defendable way to stop Reapers from getting too out of control. But secondly, they become a really dangerous counterattack element, whereas Lings aren't. Lings can never chew through a wall, but Roaches and Ravagers absolutely can.
That is certainly true, although still pretty rare nowadays. First, to have that commitment, and then second of all, especially if it's like a bigger map, to actually have that timing. And Sequencer is going to be pretty big. I think for a guy like Nerchio, this is like, this is what he was going to do anyways, get to Roaches. Snoot also a Roach player, but played Mutilating Bling on a big map. Exactly, Sequencer, in fact. Only responded with Lings. There's recently a discussion, I guess, because, of course, 3x Reaper made its way back in the Korean leagues. And was quite a few Reddit threads, too. I didn't see the games. I didn't see how effective they were. I just know that they were effective from what everyone was saying. But it was funny to see the Twitter conversations about how everyone thinks that the European Zergs have a better response against them. And that isn't actually Speedlings. But I guess we'll save more like theory crafting about that for later, because it is quite a quite involved, I suppose. And a lot of people have a lot of different opinions, but I do say that when the Lings get the full surround, of course, that is the
It's better,
nicest way.
It's also way harder to get said surround. Though.
Exactly.
That's why I think we've been watching the Europeans, I think, when they went else, right? I think that this is why I've always been a little bit more inclined or biased or whatever you want to call it, favored towards the Roaches and towards the Ravagers. I think that's just a bit of an easier defense. And of course, Ravagers especially have the auto attack range to keep us from getting too out of hand.
Yeah, it really does seem to be that.
Oh, wow!
If the Roaches are safer, they also might get you a worse macro game because you take longer to get the third base and you invest so much early game, and the counterattack isn't there unless you really commit to it, whereas the Lings would at least run around every so often. But if you go for the Lings, then maybe they just die, like straight up. So.
Yeah, Lings aren't worth a lot,
risks.
but when you chip them off like 5 at a time, 6 at a time, 2 at a time, eventually that adds up. And I'd say by now, usually we'd see that resources lost tab for Nerchio be closer to like 600. Said he accidentally lost a queen, which I don't think he even needed to do. So realistically, I'm looking at 50 minerals worth of losses here. This is pretty good.
It also is very good that he didn't really overreact. I mean, he got the Roach Warren, but there wasn't like a ton of Roaches and a ton of extra queens. The third base wasn't entirely pushed off, and even an Infestation Pit.
The Infestation Pit, I think, is really weird for this. I mean, you're right. Like he got third base up timely. He's got a decent army size, but like if this is for a fast hive, I mean, Nerchio's been known to play fast hive, but this is like an insanely fast hive. In response to Reapers? You're like, okay, what? Sorry, go on.
It's not really a response to Reapers, though, is the thing, which is why I think I really like it. He saw the timing on the Medivacs, specifically with the starports. That's the one thing he has to worry about. But I think he realized, actually, maybe even quite some time ago, that it wasn't triple Rax. Well, yeah, because of the Overlord, that's right. That it wasn't triple Rax Reaper, and that the transition to Marines happened pretty quickly. So he's kind of just saying, like, yeah, I don't have to worry. Like, at most, these get into the main base and kill a couple of drones. Sneaky, but that's about it.
Well, I was going to say, I love this imaginary world where it's not wrong, but it's not necessarily right. Where Nerchio's like, Reapers? What kind of Reapers? Ultralisks.
I was going to go with Fungals, but yeah, Ultras too.
Nah, this is really funny, though, because you're right. The other part to note is, like, had this been... It's not for Fast Hive, it's not for Fast Ultras, but had it gone that direction... along with delayed stim and combat shields comes really delayed Marauder production. And honestly, like, even as we saw earlier, +1 Carapace, plus Chitinous Plating, it's all the upgrades you need if you do have Ultras.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think maybe he could have gotten away with Fast Ultra, which is something that Optimus is specifically checking for. Unfortunately, scans the wrong base. But...
Does he not know about Hive still?
I think he knows the lair was there.
Well... Starts up with, let's see if he saw the Infestation Pit or not, which he did, so that question of Hive is certainly, like, where is it, if it's there at all.
Yeah. But yeah, so, I mean, if it's an Infestation Pit that a Hive has to follow, whether it's before or after the Infestors, it's still around, it's a quick timing, basically. So this was after a couple of Infestors, the safer move for Nerchio's things are banking up that energy, but not too long after the Infestors are made. And he scouts them now. Any aggression will have to be very careful.
That was such a good catch out of Nerchio, too. The way he spread his units to predict where the Reapers were going, precisely catch them all, remove that thorn from his side, so to speak. But even with that being in consideration, these attacks on the side, like Optimus, everything here is going to be pretty weak if Nerchio actually gets the Hive tech safely. This is that timing, and this is that time in which a Terran player can usually take advantage of a Zerg, but I don't think Optimus is going to get to do that to Nerchio.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like there's no 2-2 timing, which is hard to hit against Nerchio anyways because it is so fast. But there's also just not that much of an army supply lead, or even that much of an army type advantage because the tank count isn't that high. 4 is decent actually, but not super high. It might get into a decent position though, and that's certainly something to talk about. Like on a platform ledge with a tank spread, not getting the fungal corrosive bio combination that is difficult to clean up. But this isn't the entire army, it's not even all the tanks, and he's not going to get into that abusive position, and he might just get overwhelmed if he's not really careful with how he does this. Ultra's Cavern won't be a part of this fight, but I think Nerchio might still want to make sure he doesn't get on the bridge too far. Yeah, he's going to try and push this back before it really gets ingrained. And he does. Well, actually, two tanks to the back. Nah. All right.
He got some of the medevacs with Corsair Biles, just to note. Like, that was actually kind of impressive. Takes out the tanks now.
That all happened before 2-2 as well. I mean, if Optimus had gotten the bridge covered a little bit more and had 2-2, Nerchio probably makes a huge mistake attacking in like that. But as it is, that was perfect. That gives him more breathing room too, even though there's still an army on his doorstep. It's not included with tanks, and Fungo Corsair Biles should be enough, and his Ultras are on the way.
I love this multi-pronged defense. I mean, normally we're talking about and praising the multi-pronged harass, and the Terran player dancing left and right, but Nerchio's doing a great job responding back and forth with what limited units that he has. By the way, big thank you to Yoda the Drunk for the Twitch Prime sub. Coming back for 8 months to say Murata should shoot up, right, Rifkin? I have no strong opinions on the matter, but my co-caster might.
When I'm drunk, I have strong opinions on everything. Well, this is getting cleaned up on every single side now, and the Ultras are out. It's about 10 seconds away from Chitinous Plating, but not in danger. Optimus did get a 4th base. Planetary, I think, too. So he could play to the long game. Nice Silk Star on the Infestor.
Oh, picks up the medevac, too. Tries to predict the path of Optimus, but he steers left to stay clear of that.
Optimus pushing forward here. He's got Drilling Claws on the way, another factory. This is where the Broodlords really got to him versus Snoot, though, is when he's had a lot of tanks and Liberators. Maybe that was Keen. That was Keen, I guess. Point is, a Terran. Well, the Drilling Claws were cool. They weren't quite enough to make up for bad positioning, but speaking of, a couple of Ultras just going way too far forward.
There's so many
no
Marauders.
Cancel there.
There's so many Marauders.
Yeah.
This is where I think those Fungals would be absolutely critical, but he's only got the one Infestor at this point.
Yeah, that's important to note. Optimus has been pretty good about focus firing. Definitely focused that one in the main base, but there's probably some other instances, because I think Nerchio's made like 5 in total.
I was going to go for that Fungal.
Yeah.
This is going to be a juicy as hell Fungal.
That's good.
I don't know if it's enough damage to follow it up, though. Everything else was really late to the party. There was a really sick Fungal, but the Ultras like barely got any attacks in. The Ravagers did not crucify the medevacs. And Nerchio's now extended off a creep.
That choke worked pretty well for Optimus. And unfortunately losing some units on the runaway as well. Drones too at the 3rd base. Optimus is gaining some control here, but Nerchio did push that so far back that he's already replaced the Ultras. Just has to wait for the Infestors.
I like that he is getting so many. Not just because there's likely 1 or 2 get picked off, but oh no, he needs them so badly. Timing's not going to be on his side either, because just realized he does not have pathogen glands, so those will spawn and they can't throw up fungal growths.
Exactly, and that pickup was pretty hot. The Spire's done, but no Corruptors have been made, and now Nerchio can't really afford to transition. He's not safe enough, and he doesn't have that much of a bank.
Folks, sorry, the Infestors, I like that.
Well, this is now looking a little bad for Nerchio. Back down to just 2 mining bases.
I'm up on an asterisk on that, right, though, because like the whole point of mining and getting income is to replace units you lose. But I feel like if there's how many Infestors survive that? 5. With enough Fungals and like 1 or 2 Ultraless swipes, Nerchio won't need to remake anything, because mining won't be relevant if he completely demolishes Optimus's army.
Oh yeah, Ultras have always been pretty good about that. Back when they were still considered like way overpowered, you'd lose all of your bases, but you'd have Ultras, you just rebuild them all. Like, they're pretty good. But usually Terran players have gotten a bit better at actually taking them out. So you can see here the Liberators might have been fungal, but they weren't killed, so lot of damage.
Yeah, 2 of those Corsair Biles were supposed to go down on it. He missed 2 of them. Now the Infestors are all gone. They got sniped by the Liberators, so there's none left. No more Fungals. Nerchio lost his edge there.
Yeah, he's lost his edge in the game. He needed that transition to Broodlords, or well, I mean, that, but also, more importantly, he needed to just, I think, have Fungals, really. That was a large part of what was missing from these fights that have not gone in his favor, the surround of Lings or Fungals to keep units in place and really punish them. Instead, Optimus has been doing wonders with Marauders and Medivacs.
Yeah, this drop's gonna get the Ultralisk Cavern, so bye-bye Ultralisks. Nerchio doesn't even have the money to build the... Like, he rebuilds the cavern, but he's losing so much that he just can't afford to build units afterwards.
Oh, Torn's done with. I mean, Optimus could spread himself a little bit too thin. You know, Ultra's 1-to-1 against a drop, you know, pretty good. But Optimus has a lot of bases. He can start lifting his orbitals because there's been really no pressure on his side of the map, which Nerchio is now trying to change, but is going to meet most of Optimus's army in the middle of the map, and that just might be it.
Uh-oh. Yeah, he'll get chased down if Optimus really wants to chase this.
That is...
Stop out. Optimus takes map number 1 here in the finals. But it is only a best of 3, guys, so totally a chance for Nerchio to bring this back. It's been a while since our last commercial break, though, so we're going to go to a small ad break here as we get to game number 2. Thank you very much for tuning in. Enjoy the camera angle, and we'll see you guys soon. All right, folks, back just in the nick of time as drones have been sent to mining. Whoops. It is game number 2, and currently down in the series. The bottom left, we've got the Blue Zerg Nerchio. Bit surprised to see him down too.
Oh god. In the top right, as the Red Terran, it's Optimus. The way you opened up the intro just made me thought, like, is the drone out gonna proxy hatch? Like, that was like the best fake ever.
It wasn't meant to be a fake. It was like literally the drones are out to mining.
We're back in time to watch everything be normal. Yeah. Oh, mostly normal. Goes to a pool first. Defender's Landing still making its way into the map pool despite all the vetoes they had.
Yeah, I think you had mentioned Nerchio managed to get this, what, first on the other maps?
On the other series, yeah. Both series.
Also, I didn't realize, going back to the WCS Jönköping announcement, apparently Nate's not actually casting, he's hosting.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah.
I don't know, I feel like 50-50 on that, right? Not to judge Nathanius for his hosting skills, because I don't know how good or bad they'll be, but I always thought, like, the other casters, they didn't, like, this is me projecting, perhaps, and I'm not trying to say that this is how everyone else probably feels about it, but I really do feel that, okay, everyone has a bias to a degree. We all play a various different race, right? So, like, obviously, like, Rotterdam's going to be more inclined and happier to cast a Protoss player and have up a Protoss player than necessarily a Zerg or a Terran. And I just didn't feel like there were any other hype Terran casters. So this kind of is me hoping to Muslim can bring it if he's going to be the caster, not an analyst. But I actually don't know the roles of everybody there. Because Nate was always, for me, like one of the better Terran casters. If for no other reason, they just brought the hype that the other guys would so blasé approach the Terran matchups with.
I feel one Maynard is going to come to chat or watch the VOD and be like, what about me, man?
Well, I'm not trying to disrespect Maynard, right? I'm just talking more about Nate in this instance. Like, Nate is, like, a really great Terran caster, and I'm not saying Maynard's any worse off because Nate's great, but Nate is objectively a great Terran caster, so I'm sad that he's not casting.
Well, just the way you phrase it was like, now I want to have a hype Terran caster. I know you didn't mean to, like, focus on that point.
You know what? Fuck Maynard. That Aussie piece of garbage. Who does he think he is?
Yeah. But, I mean, I was going to mention that Nate has already hosted.
Which one did
mixed
he
feelings
host?
about it.
I don't remember.
Another European one, like, a year ago.
Because, I mean, like, the stuff like Fragbite and those other ones, I don't think
No,
about
it
as
was
much.
a WCS.
Okay.
He actually talked about it and like the complications of like a near piece and stuff like that. But no, he definitely did that role. I think they've been trying to figure out a more permanent like desk host because like Apollo was one for a long time, and then Tasis did 1 or 2 that everyone loved,
Tasis
but he doesn't
was
come
great,
out. Like,
yeah.
He was, but he doesn't come out as much as everyone else. And then Clark's doing Heroes for a while, and I guess couldn't do this, or I don't know actually what happened behind the scenes, but something came along, and then Nate's back in the host seat.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder where it'll be at Valencia. I actually wouldn't even mind if DreamHack, and specifically WCS, because it's no longer like DreamHack Jönköping, it's WCS Jönköping, right? Which, by the way, I don't even know if I'm saying correctly. I hope I am. It would kind of cool to see them actually rotate some of those people around to be the hosts. Because I would definitely love to see how each of them approaches the host role differently. Like everyone's gonna have their own take on it, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I have no idea how that works. If they bid for it, or they're just like told, or I don't know.
Well,
inner
anyways,
workings.
Optimus and Nerchio squaring off now for game 2, and there's not quite a wall off yet. And the worst part is the wall's not knocked down either, so there's a lot of openings here. Not just for these couple of things, but I'm thinking about like any other future attacks, and hopefully Optimus will cover this up. Because if you remember last time, it wasn't a wall with him.
Yeah, not really. No. Well, the Lings kind of test the waters, and I guess he thought Optimus would then leave, which he wasn't wrong about. So, nicely done. Gets a couple of SCVs. Nerchio is getting a lot of roaches. He saw more Hellions. Now, like an imp to transfer over to Cyclones or tanks, and as such, he's going to try and bust Optimus down. And Optimus has no idea. He's getting a bunker, but
it's like in the wrong spot.
Yeah, that's like, I want to finish the wall. Maybe send like Lings my way, not for a bunch of roaches.
I was going to see the roaches too.
This maybe could be holdable. He has a Cyclone and Liberator on the way. Unfortunately, the rocks aren't broken down. There's no wall there. And the Hellions, I was going to say, they could go for an attack or trying to come back home and help defend.
No.
Like, wall on the main? Wall on the main?
It's like a slow waddle. Just like, open the doors. Our guest has arrived.
Yeah, I think this is just tap out, man. Like, this is... Well, it was completely unexpected. And while Optimus had a bit of an attack, I guess an auto turret went down. That's not nearly comparable. Game number 3.
Way for Prince Arthur. Say hey, it's Prince Arthur.
If Optimus held, well, never mind. I was gonna say, at 19 SCVs, maybe there's a recovery process. Finish that third CC. But at 8 SCVs, no.
I'm trying to think if I actually how to spoof the song now, but I don't remember the original lines as well as I thought I did. It's like Prince Ali, fabulous is he, Alia, blah blah, and I don't remember anything else.
It gets really complicated, so I don't even blame you.
Prince Arthur, glorious sir. Then I don't know. All right, Nerchio ties up the series now with a 1-1. And remember, what they're fighting for is, of course, that second place in the group, a.k.a. seeding to the playoffs and a chance to even get money for the tournament today. Thank you, Bill Jangles1337, for the 15-month resub. And I think that'll take us to one last commercial break as we hop into the final game, map number 3, when we return. Okay, folks, we settle in here to map number 3. Things are tied up 1-1, and it's the last cast of the day and the last match of this group. We already had Snoot advance in first place. He'll be going to that top 4 playoffs, and we'll find out which of these two join him. In the bottom right, you brought it back, and it looked easy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Blue Zerg, Nerchio.
In the top left, as the Red Terran, it's Optimus.
McMarcipan in chat, by the way, says, Rifkin's shitposting from Twitter is changing to singing Disney songs. Clearly, you don't know about the Abyssal Reef intro that I wrote and created with Tempo.
I haven't played that in a long time.
No, I actually, part of the... I was reminded very quickly why we stopped doing map intros for a while, and it's just like, the seasons go by not so fast that it's not worth your while, but you'll get to use a couple of them for about 2 months, and then it's just like, that's it. You put all this time and effort in to play like a total of like maybe 5 minutes worth of airtime over the course of months. Like,
Yeah.
Plus, it kind of sucks that big events went, like, we couldn't use them for the Ting Open Finals. GameLand wouldn't let us use them over there. Like, I don't know. I would really want to use them to hype stuff up, but oh well. Hey, look at that guy over there. Well, actually, we gotta look at this guy over here for the shout out. Liquid Snoot! 32 months. Thanks for that resub. Can you smell what the Snoot is cooking? We got him saying, go Optimus in chat. I guess perhaps feeling better about playing Optimus in the playoffs than maybe Nerchio. Or maybe he just really wants Nerchio to lose. Either are totally fair assumptions.
Alright. Yeah.
Actually, this would be so cool if the way this worked out was Optimus finished second in the group. He'll be seated on the opposite side of the bracket as Snoot. And then have him and Snoot rematch again in the finals. That would be super dope.
That's the way to do it. Well, Optimus did open up with 2 Reapers, but coming out of 1 Barracks. So, Tricky. Yeah, it still is going into what is kind of a modified 2-1-1. Second barracks, gas on the way, factory surely.
I've been really wrapping my head around this like Prince Ali spoof, and I just can't do it. I looked at the lyrics, and they're actually, you weren't kidding when you said it started getting complicated. Like, I actually cannot do this. I can spoof most things, and I can rhyme almost anything, but nothing makes sense when I sew it all together.
Yeah. I think it's like, songs usually have, of course, the chorus being the same, or most of the same, very easily recognizable. And then they have everything else, only like slight difference, I feel. But with the Genie, it's all like funny jokes and quips and sly like additions. Like
it's not even that. There's just like literally nothing that rhymes with Arthur. Like Ali, like Prince Ali, that's no problem, right?
Well, I mean that's
like I said Gloriouser, and that's like the closest I'm gonna get. That's not even a word, right? Like,
amazing. I was like, that's why I can't remember it, but I don't know about rhyming with it. It's funny.
Actually, this might be another one of those like silver and purple and all that. Like, what rhymes with Arthur? Other than Mick Arthur. Nothing. I really can't think of any words out there. No. Yo, chat, if you guys can think of anything that rhymes with Arthur, or even, we can go like the European variation, Arthur, just let me know. I actually can't think of anything.
I mean,
Archer,
there's like,
maybe? No, that's close, but not even a
yeah,
rhyme.
there's like close ones, but there's not. I mean, I feel like with the, depending on how you put the emphasis, you'll be close enough.
On which syllable?
Yeah. Okay, well.
Can you imagine trying to talk like that in a regular sentence? Oh my god, kill me now. Just the thought of it makes my tongue hurt.
I don't even want to try. Make it a just me executor.
Executor?
Just me executor. Oh, 60 month resub. Keep on casting.
Okay.
Who says that?
But not
just
because you told me.
Is that what Kerrigan says?
For what, sorry?
Who says just me executor?
Well, I don't know about that. I know that's like all the Protoss respond when you click on them. Like, executor?
Yeah,
it's
they
like
say
the
executor.
or whatever.
But I remember, like, Kerrigan, like, you were controlling her with the Protoss or something like that, and if you clicked on her, she was, like, really snappy. I might be misremembering. I don't remember all the dialogue.
It's good. Blizzard misremembered not just the dialogue, but the story and the interactions between Kerrigan and a lot of other people, too.
Oh my god. This actually reminds me, I was watching Jurassic World with my mom before I came back to cast. And I remember being really peeved at how they handled the story and the romance when I watched it in theaters. But I was just like, it just swept me up again, man. It seriously is out of nowhere. I didn't even remember how out of nowhere. I was like, well, certainly they like flirted or had like a moment or something like that. They actually don't do anything except not like each other. And then they just kiss randomly. And I was like, oh, why did you think such a bad movie? Mediocre movie. It wasn't necessarily bad, a mediocre movie.
Mediocre movie with really attractive people in it that have no connection whatsoever.
That is certainly true. Chris Pratt is a pretty attractive movie. Well, that is a lot of Marines and even a couple of Reapers trying to help out there, and they just try and simp forward and kill everything. Almost successful. Loses an evac, and as such will be cleaned up.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a snowball out of Optimus, but there's definitely a favorable engagement for him. If you ever trying to say farther rhymes with Arthur, no.
Arthur.
King Arthur, I could throw him farther than Ali Bois Bois.
I mean, probably. Pretty skinny guy.
No, people are trying with it. Martyr, actually, Martyr's kind of close to moving with Arthur. Like, Prince
Right,
Arthur, always a martyr. Actually, it's using the same word. It doesn't work. That's like when I went Arthur and MacArthur, right? I give up, guys. It's not going to happen. Tomato? 12 months, 1 year. Farther?
He's a farter.
Prince Arthur, stinky is he, always a farter. No.
No. No, it was hilarious without the fart sound.
I'm trying to do the song as fart sounds.
You're laughing so hard.
So I guess 10 regular.
Okay.
Well, Nerchio is confident enough to continue droning while all of this aggression is going on at Optimus. So, well, maybe that first attack blitzed in and caught him a bit off guard. Nerchio's not been caught off guard since, and his drone count is looking pretty good.
Yeah, almost at 80. On his way to Hive. Upgrades on the way.
Yeah, that's kind of Nerchio, I feel, nowadays, too. We would see... I want to see was like True back in the day would be the one guy we'd always talk about rushing to Hive Tech, but Nerchio and like a 9-minute Hive are kind of just like expected, I'd say now.
Yeah, 9-minute done Hive. No, it's pretty quick. Optimus gonna try and pile on the aggression with double prong drops. This guy's macro going pretty smoothly. He's gonna see the Hive. I think he already saw actually the natural.
Actually, where's the fish in here? Yeah, he sees that morphin in, so he knows. Go get him, Overlords. Body slam him. Oh no.
They really.
That actually looks
be
really.
useful.
That actually looks really intimidating. This scene right here.
Yeah, Overlords would probably be terrifying in real life.
Can you imagine how creepy? It's like nighttime. Like all you see is the glowing eye. Oh man, f that.
Yeah, that's kind of like nightmare territory. My mom got to watch. My mom got to watch 2 StarCraft tournaments while she was here, and she would always ask, "What are those flying things?" She had a fascination with Overlords. They're fantastic. But anyways, Focus Fire would have loved to have gone on the Infestors. Fortunately, only grabs one of them before dying. And I just them run away, scuttle away.
People asking why things are floating up when they die. This is an underwater map, so they are floating to the surface. As silly as that sounds, it is accurate. It's kind of cool, though. I guess this lost its novelty since we've been casting it for so long, but there was really only one map ever. And I don't think it wasn't even an official part of the ladder pool, Abyssal City or whatever, that these effects were in play.
Abyssal City? Yeah. We need, there's been a couple of cases of just 2 similar map names. Abyssal City, Abyssal Reef, and Metropolis, Metalopolis. The 2 big ones.
Well, we got Ultralisks on deck. It's not like Optimus doesn't have Marauder production. It's not going to be totally unprepared for this. That was a crazy death sound. What the hell? But unfortunately, he just doesn't feel like he's got the numbers going for him. His macro is not strong enough that he's pumping out like 13 Marauders at a time. And there's going to be Fungals, too, to go with this. Burrow finished up.
Thought it was going to be a good Fungal. Not quite, but... Yeah, Nerchio already piling on the aggression. I think Optimus might just be at a loss. Okay, with his choke. This choke, though, the Lings are on top of it. We so much damage. But there's, of course, a Biofungal combination.
Feels bad, man. Pre-scans. I like this, too. He's looking for the Infestors. The Liberators set up, but unfortunately, they don't last very long either. Corsair Biles are pretty freaking good by the looks of things. There's a small counterattack going off, but the medevac just got killed as we were tuned over to it. So, unfortunately... Optimus has no real pressure elsewhere on the map, but he's just losing out at home.
Yeah. Yeah, had a really good game against Ultras on Sequencer, the first game of this series, but not getting the similar effects here. Lift his 4th base, not quite a planetary. That'd be a good thing. Would have just died if it was a planetary, but his army is dying anyways.
Yeah, Fungal's coming down
Either
once again. There might not be aggressive Biles, but it's more than enough to end the game. And congratulations to Nerchio, who'll move on to the playoffs, taking the 2-1 here in the finals of the group. I will say, well, it's sad Optimus didn't win or come second place. He did put a pretty good showing on today, as he is, again, definitely the underdog player, underrated player of the group, I guess you could say. Also, a lot of people still arguing the rhymes here for, I guess, the insistence of like the potential spoof that's never going to happen. The thing is, you need more than one. There's like 8 different variations of this throughout the song. So even if we were to accept that farther and for sure were acceptable, that's 2 out of 8. And there's just no more beyond that. There's just no way. And also, people trying to argue now on Twitter, fur rhymes with Arthur. No.
I saw that and I was like, that isn't...
It ends in similar sounding. That's not how rhymes work, though. Okay. Anyways, it was a fun thing. You guys ruined it. Way to go. Thumbs up, everybody. We are done with the group, though. We're done with today. So the Corsair Cup comes to a close with Snoot and Nerchio moving on to the playoffs. So we'll see more of them. The original schedule for this was that the finals would happen at the end of the month, but then the IEM qualifiers came up and all these other things are happening, so we don't actually have a playoffs date yet. What we're going to do is get all 4 of the playoff players and then work together with them to find a date that will work for them and work for us and hopefully work for you guys, the fans. We'll have more on that later. We're going to go to commercial break. We'll come back. We'll discuss actually some of the recent events with IEM, and we'll say our goodbyes. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you soon. All right, folks, we're back. Hello and greetings. Thank you for watching the stream today. I actually don't know 100% if we'll have a little bit extra to do here. We might just actually be taking off. So we'll say our goodbyes and get out of the way first. First and foremost, big thank you to Corsair for sponsoring this tournament and, of course, making it all possible. Extra big thank you to Twitch for, of course, not just helping power it up, but basically fund a lot of the other stuff we do on the side. So that's been really awesome to have happen. You guys who have been subbing with Twitch Prime or just subbing normally, cheering with bits, that's all good things that go a long way to helping us as well, including this awesome sponsorship that we have. Thank you to Kevlar Scarf, by the way, who did Twitch Prime sub just as we went to commercial break, so I unfortunately didn't get to catch that, but thank you very much. Hope you're still here. And yeah, the links down below in the stream, any of the icons you see with the Corsair Gear, it'll take you to the site through our affiliation link, but if you guys are not interested in headsets, but say you click on the headset icon and then navigate over to the RAM or the power supplies, things like that, that still gives us a credit, that still gives us a percentage of your purchase, and it still helps us make sure that Corsair knows that people are coming from the Corsair Cup. So hell, if you got nothing else to do today, guys, you're not planning to buy anything, just click the links. It's just proof that one person that was watching today actually clicked the link. Goes a long way. But, oh my, juicy IEM drama. Oh, the invisible soap is rubbing through my hands as I can't wait to expose the nastiness. No, there's not really a ton of drama here. It's more just like some surprising information, a bit of disrespect, but more just updates for the fans, because some of you are probably looking forward to hoping us casting the IEM qualifiers coming up. And we were looking forward to it too. We actually, I can't talk about it much. Zomgrab and I were invited to do something on the same days as the IEM qualifiers, and we were actually looking into taking special accommodations, I guess you could say, to try and make it so that we could cast said qualifiers. And it's something I was looking forward to. However, IEM has apparently, well, ESL, to be more specific, introduced some new policies which makes it not really favorable or possible for us to cast the IEM qualifiers. I'll go into some details about this in a moment, but the thing that really just struck me wrong about this was, from a business standpoint, especially if you're talking about a game like Dota 2 or something that brings in like thousands of viewers and thus a lot of money through ad revenue and other things, they actually have a legitimate point of view and a legitimate right to try and ask these things of people. But what rubbed me the wrong way was this first sentence, and I'm not going to read this whole thing out to you guys. I'm going to read this first sentence verbatim, though, okay? And there are mistakes in this that I'm also going to read because this is another part of the problem. But anyways, ESL changed his policy like 2 years ago regarding the broadcasting rights of this competition. To be able to get closer to the people casting our tournament and to promote their work, we set up a few rules on the ESL broadcasts. And then goes on to list a laundry list of things. First off, if you're going to copy paste to me some bullshit, double check it before you do. ESL changed his policy. The almighty king ESL, the guy, the benevolent lord of, like, I just, but that's nitpicking. That's not even important. The problem is this claim that they've been doing it for 2 years, and that may be the case, and they've just never enforced it up to this point. But we've been doing this long enough that if there had been changes like this, we would have heard about it a long time ago. I'm in several different ESL channels with several different folks who work at ESL. It's actually, just say there's a new policy. I don't need to know that there's some bullshit for 2 years ago. Like, hello? I'm not some brand new broadcaster who's just stepped into the scene. Don't feed me bullshit right off the bat. That's the first sentence I receive about this, right? The rest of it goes on, though, to do things like you have to join the MCN, which is a multi-channel network, which I have problems with because if you guys don't know, every big YouTube channel out there, and most YouTube channels in general now, everyone's moved away from MCNs because they've been proven to be total bullshit and useless and not worth anyone's while. And the only people who benefit from an MCN are the people who run the MCN, literally taking advantage of anyone who joins it. So let me just tell you really quick, don't join an MCN unless you have to or unless there's actually some sort of benefit to you through promotion. Because speaking money-wise, you're not going to get anything from it. And to claim that like any level of ESL promotion could somehow be worth it for us is just insane, and not just insane, but incorrect. Because for us, like, we are the top dogs of the StarCraft 2 channels, right? Like, I don't need ESL to tweet BaseTradeTV's live, because if they do, it's going to bring in, like, tens of viewers. I'm really not concerned about that. So there's all of this, whatever, that affects us. The problem that really bothered me about this big message we got, though, is like they're really trying to encourage people to join their network and start a brand new Twitch channel that's not really their control. It's going to be ESL underscore your nickname here. So it'd be like ESL underscore Rifkin, ESL underscore Zombie, ESL underscore BaseTradeTV. And this is actually probably, to be clear, a great opportunity for somebody out there who has like 12 viewers, doesn't have partnership on Twitch, and is just struggling to get by. Because doing this, they're going to partner with you. They'll have rights to the channel. They'll have rights to the content. You can use the channel to broadcast and other things, but you won't own any of that. And if you're going to put like 2 years worth of grind in, you blow up big on that channel. Turns out 2 years from now, you don't actually own the channel. You don't actually own anything you've made. You've actually wasted 2 years while getting paid minimally in the process. Like, to me, that's a scam. That's not something anybody should be investing their time into. If ESL wants to, in turn, pay somebody to do this stuff, though, like a salary or a wage or a set amount, that's different. And then you're trading time for money, and that's perfectly fine. But to trade, like, I don't know, this whole thing just rubbed me the wrong way because I got approached as if I was like a nobody. So there was a huge level of disrespect here because, like, I get it. This guy's never met me before. I've never met him. Pay each other the courtesy of at least maybe looking into each other, especially if you're approaching me, asking me for something. I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way. So anyways, there's not really drama. It's just a disagreement, and we will not be casting the IEM qualifiers by the looks of things as a consequence. And that's fine by me. We've got a million other things we have to do this month, and it just gives us a bit of a breather that we don't have to put that the weight of that responsibility on our plates, I guess. The other part is this spurred a lot of discussion on Twitter. If you guys want to read into it, I've intentionally not replied to a lot of it. I was hoping to get like maybe Stagio and a couple of these other guys who are being rather vocal, perhaps on the stream, where we could discuss it with voices instead of 140 limited characters. Because I really don't agree with a lot of statements that were made, and I really cannot make a accurate reply in 140 characters or less. But I'm very, very happy to discuss this at some point if any of them want to end up coming out to talk. But it looks like nobody's replying, so won't happen today by the looks of things. The thing is, though, and this is for BaseTradeTV, and I tweeted about this, and I'm just going to state this again. Like, it wasn't just me. Like, I did this for a while on my own, and then Zombie Up came on, and we made it ours together, and made it big. And, we put that grind in for years where we weren't really getting paid anything. In fact, it was only this year, 2017, we started to make some good money because we got sponsored by Twitch. We got sponsored by Corsair. We could actually use sub money for ourselves instead of necessarily always on tournament and content creation. Now we have this really awesome privilege where all that extra money we have, if we want to throw an event like just out of the blue, we can. But we can also pay ourselves too. And on top of that, we've got Twitch and Corsair to fall back on for helping us fund really good and cool events. So we're in a very fortunate position where we can totally say no to this, and it's really no skin off our back. But it is just that, again, announcement to the channel, we won't be casting these qualifiers so that nobody looks forward to be like, oh, I'm really sad BaseTradeTV didn't show up. Why didn't they show up? Now, at least a couple thousand people know.
Yep.
Rantkin. Oh, I could rant about this. There's a lot more that I haven't touched on, but that's about as far as I think I'm going to go publicly with this because there's other things in there too. But anyways, I don't know. That pretty much wraps that up. You got any shout-outs before we take off? Sorry, I kind of hogged the mic for a while there.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at ZG Gaming, on Twitch, ZombieGrub, and YouTube, ZombieGrub. Still posting videos on there. And then also, Patreon and Amazon links down below. And then on top of all of that, my caster t-shirt has been released for the caster tournament on Matcherino. So I think it's actually a pretty cool design. If you're interested in it, there's also the other caster tournament caster t-shirts with more to be announced, I believe. So yeah, just go to the Matcherino for it and scroll down and you can see what they look like and maybe buy one. That'd be cool.
All right. Well, again, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to check out the sponsors that we just finished replugging again, all down below. We're going to be casting the Lima League tomorrow / later tonight, depending on your point of view or where you're from. And that'll be the last cast we do before we head out to Toronto. So, again, this weekend, I think we're hosting an unannounced Brood War show match on, like, the Friday night. And then Saturday and Sunday are going to be the StarCraft 2 main event. I say unannounced because I don't actually know if it's been announced, but fuck it, we'll let our fans know. And, yeah, it should be some good times. So please make sure to join us. It should be here on BaseTradeTV. I know the organizers are trying to push to use their channel now that it's been partnered up, but I'm also trying to convince them that having 23 viewers for a broadcast of this size is probably not favorable and should maybe consider doing it on BaseTrade so they can get a couple thousand maybe. Like, I don't know. So either way, if you guys want to follow us on Twitter, it's the best way to know what we're doing, where we're doing it, etc. We'll announce anything we can, always through Twitter. And, of course, it'll be where we'll be tweeting about the event itself. So, again, I don't know whether the main Game Line Invitational will be happening here on BaseTradeTV. As of this moment, my understanding with the organizers is that it will. But they have been very, very aggressively trying to push putting it on their own channel, which was created literally this week and has no followers. So they're paying us. At the end of the day, they get to make whatever business decision they want. I'm just trying to advise them to do what would be best for the fans. And I guess their company, too, but just getting more eyes on the product. But either way, Toronto this weekend. It's going to be good times. If you guys are in Toronto, I hope you'll come out live to the event. They did put a tweet out saying, by the way, that you should RSVP to it. It's like an open space, and I don't think there's tickets or anything, but definitely check it out.
Seats, maybe?
It might just be for seats or something, yeah, so you actually have somewhere to sit and be comfy. Anyways, that's it. See you guys later tonight. Lima League. Hype!